Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rise. We're back here at one of my favorite filming spot locations because guess what? We have that vehicle that some people call a mini Telluride. What is it? It's this vehicle right here. This is a 2023 Kia Sorento. Ours is the top SX Prestige trim, and on top of it, it is a Sorento hybrid. But before we get into this mid-size 3-row SUV, let's talk about what's going on here. So we are all aware already what Kia is doing in the auto industry. They're basically shocking the hell out of everybody with what they're bringing to market. It all started with the Stinger GT, then the mighty Telluride, and now they've been going through their lineup and bringing those restyles and technology to their full series of vehicles. Now, a lot of people have called this the mini Telluride, and the reason why is because the Sorento received a redesign after the Telluride came out, and a lot of the magic that Kia did with the Telluride, they brought into this Sorento. Now, you heard me correctly. This is a mid-size SUV that does have 3 rows, and that does surprise people because remember, the Telluride is a mid-size SUV that has 3 rows, but it's a little bit on the larger of the mid-size SUVs. What would be a good competitor against this particular one, especially because it's a hybrid? It would, of course, be the OG of this category, that Toyota Highlander. So let's go ahead, let's find out, should you get a Toyota Highlander limited trim hybrid? Or should you go with this Sorento SX Prestige hybrid? Let's go ahead, let's dive in our sparkling silver Sorento and find out. Right off the bat, the proportions. You could see with the styling where they took some key aspects of the Telluride and brought it into the Sorento. At the front end, I love the way they did the headlight housing. Bright silver with some gloss black multi-LED beam. You do have your LED turn signal and your daytime running lamp. And then as we drop down, you do have functional corner air curtains. A little bit of gloss black because this is the SX Prestige. And I'm really thinking that the silver highlights the body lines on this vehicle. Now, as we come across the front, you have that tiger nose grille. Remember, that's what they call this style of grille with the updated Kia badge, forward-facing camera. Like the way they did all this intricate openings in the top grille portion. You have a mail slot version of an air intake in the center here, and then on the bottom end we have more openings to bring cool air. One of the things that I like that they did is look at how they took the fog lamps, LED fog lamps, and brought it into this lower area. Nice use of the space, and the way that they kind of gave this thing fangs on each corner right here where that point is on the passenger side and on the driver's side. It almost looks like fangs on the front of this vehicle. But let me know what you think about the front of the Sorento compared to the more traditional styling of the Highlander. Now, as we rise up, love the way you have a nice bulge. So if you've been using socks, if you've been using other pieces of foam or a sponge, you could put all those things away. You do have your bulge on the hood. And then as we come around the bend, what are we working with wheel and tire setup on this SX Prestige? So what you're gonna find, 19-inch wheels, machined aluminum with the metallic gunmetal gray finish, 5-spoke design. And what's great is that, remember, this is a hybrid, so we don't have to have these freaky origami looking wheels that look like a science experiment. We could have a wheel that looks like it should. And I think for sure that this matches nicely with what we got going on. 235 on the width, 55 series sidewall. This has all-wheel drive, which remember, you can get the Highlander hybrid in front-wheel drive or also all-wheel drive. My big zonk, that flat black has got to go on our SX Prestige. It should be painted all silver. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section. We come down the side, you get a nice little touch of some aluminum style trim. Kind of brightens up the door panel and the front fender a little bit. We have body color matching on the mirror caps. These are power folding mirrors, LED turn signals, 360-degree cameras, and I like the way the silver aluminum finish matches what's around the window openings and also along the bottom there on that sill extension. But definitely from the side of the vehicle, it's got some good proportions to it and some nice body lines. Up top, you're gonna get the bright silver roof rails. Yes, you can get crossbars. We do have a panoramic sunroof. And then one of my favorite touches is this right here. Instead of just putting a triangular piece of glass, they brought some style into it with that nice aluminum finish. They gotta paint these though. I don't know, I would assume most of you would say body colored. The flat black just isn't working for me on a top trim. And then guess what? We get to the back and looky what they did. No exposed wiper. Where's the wiper? They have a nice long roof spoiler. They tuck it in up here and it just swings down out of the way, but keeps it so clean. Highlander doesn't do that. Highlander has the exposed wiper. It's growing on me, the taillights. At first I didn't like this style where they have it split like this, and it kind of reminded me of the family truckster from National Lampoon's Vacation, but it is growing on me, and I do like the way it's LED lit. If you're wondering what the heck is that some kind of Greek letter or something? It's hybrid electric vehicle. That's what it stands for. And then working our way all the way down, I just wish they didn't do this weird fake exhaust looking thing. I don't know if it's a fake exhaust. I don't know if it's like, is this where you're supposed to put your shoe to step? No, you don't want to do that. You'll probably rip it off the car. But from a styling standpoint, I don't get it. I wish that they would have done something a little bit different back down there. Let me know how you feel about that on the bottom corners on each side, but everything else looks really fantastic. Why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and talk range of this hybrid. All right guys, we got the hood popped. You do have hood struts. Underneath the hood is that hybrid setup. What do we have going on? What you're looking at is a 1.6 liter turbocharged inline four that's paired to an electric motor to give us 227 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to a 6-speed automatic torque converter traditional transmission. Now, if you look at the Highlander, that has a CVT. 0 to 60 in 7 seconds. Top speed is governed to 122 miles per hour, but guess what? Here's where you're gonna come in on top. 36 mpgs in the city, 33 on the highway. The vehicle weighs 4,095 pounds and can tow 3,500 pounds. So I like the fact that they went the route with a torque converter transmission, 6-speed automatic, rather than a CVT, but it would be nice to have a little bit higher towing capability, especially with ours having all-wheel drive. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire this up and see it roll out of here. All right, guys, we are inside this 2023 Kia Sorento Hybrid. And remember, this is the top trim, the big dog, or the daddy dog that some people like to call it, at the SX Prestige level of trims. Now, I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I'm so glad you're doing this. I'm about to buy a Highlander. I'm very curious what Kia brings to the table. All I remember when I was a kid, my friend in high school had a Kia Sophia, and we blew the engine up in that within a week of him owning it. So I've been hesitant with the brand, but I know a lot has changed. Lay it on me, Joe. How much is this? MSRP for this top trim, the way it's optioned, is right at $45,900. Very comparable to a limited trim Highlander hybrid. Let's see what you get for the money. To the door panels. I'm digging on this Prestige, this SX Prestige, how we have the navy blue. That's actually blue up top, not black. And then that off-white. Now, yes, it's gonna get dirty easier, but if you keep it clean, it looks really fantastic. I love that crisscross pattern that they got going on by the door handle. And the door handle almost looks like a Kia belt buckle. That's how massive that door handle is to open up the door. A little bit of gloss black around the switch gear. You got a massive pocket there up top where the handle is. You could almost put, I would say, 4 Twinkies just in that spot. And then down below, the actual door pocket itself gets a little tight. Maybe 4 tacos from Taco Bell. You could get that soft, crunchy one and a bottle of Coca-Cola to wash it down. We got the Bose sound system. And then check out the AC vents. Look at the way they did. Both of these are functional and you could actually move each one in totally opposite directions if you want to. There's more of that crisscross pattern in the aluminum. We have that navy blue two-tone with the stitching, the off-white soft touch material. And then what do we have for infotainment? We have a 10.25 infotainment system screen, obviously with your navigation. You can go and get into just about anything with this vehicle. We could go into our navigation. You could put in your directions, go back to home. Look at all the different apps we have. Quiet mode, you could get your climate control. You could also see what's going on with your hybrid setup. So there we have the battery, the motor, the battery, and everything else showing. So really nice to have that kind of setup there. Passenger talk, that's where you could yell at the kids by using the speakers rather than raising your voice. My dad would have loved that when we were kids because he really used to yell at us all the time. And then, of course, throwing it into reverse, nice clear resolution. You got your 360, you got your trajectory, and you could change the angles, which is really nice. Very easy to do. And then we go right back into park. Working our way down, we got dual climate control. You physically press in the areas to operate it. You got your nice silver switch gear, more of those cool looking AC vents. And then check this out, 3 stages of heated seats, but Steven's favorite, 3 stages of ventilated seats. Nice to adjust by the flip of a switch. There is a lot of gloss black here, so I am gonna zonk that, but the good news is most people are probably gonna drive around like this because you're gonna have your wireless charging, and we have 3 USB-As, plus you got a place for a couple Twinkies, which is always good. This rotary drive controller here is gonna control our 6-speed automatic transmission. You can lock the center diff. You got your different modes, which I'll show you more of that on the business side. I just locked the center diff. Heated steering wheel, a place for your Mentos, 2 cup holders, and then Kia has always done a quality key fob. I had it upside down. Remote start, nice silver on the buttons, a place for a couple Slim Jims. Let me get my sweat off this beautiful navy blue. Love the stitching. Open it up, you got a place for your Planters peanuts, maybe some pistachios, and then down in there, you got some felt lining at the base. That's where you could put that snow globe that your grandmother gave you when you were a little kid, when you went to visit her in New York. It's got the Statue of Liberty, it's got Ellis Island, and you shake it up. Here's a little fun fact for you. Would you believe that New Jersey actually owns Liberty Island from the waterline down, and New York owns it from the waterline up? A little piece of fun facts for you. And then the seats, the leather, that navy blue looks classy. Of course, full electric assist, nice bolstering and everything. And then just when you thought there couldn't be more, you got this massive panoramic sunroof. I mean, and look how fast it is. That's like 0 to 60 in about a second. That's 60 inches per second. But why don't you go ahead, get your butt over here. I got a 2-tone steering wheel I want to show you in the Sorento. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel. You do have 2 memory seat settings. I like the Sorento aluminum sill plate. That's just a little bit of water there. Let me brush that away for you. And then look at what we have in the pedal box. Aluminum brake pedal, throttle. I wish they would have gave us an aluminum dead pedal. I guess they must have ran out of aluminum at the factory. Seats though, fantastic. You could adjust the front, look at this, the hamstring extension underneath your hammies, all electric assist, that lower lumbar. I'm 6 feet tall, and this is a really great size SUV. It feels good in here. I promise you 2-tone. Here it is, 2-tone steering wheel. Off-white with the navy blue. Love the way they do the horn button. Flat black with a little bit of silver on the switch gear. You do have paddles to go through the different controls. And then of course you do have a manual tilting and telescoping steering wheel. And then to wrap it off, look at that massive, ginormous 12-inch digital gauge cluster. You got your power gauge on the right, speedometer, and then I promised you something. Look. We got our different modes, smart, eco. Look at the way they change. Let me get rid of this countdown clock. Snow mode, let's make a snowman. We're gonna keep it in sport because I'm feeling really racy. And then on top of that, you could go through the different information in the center as well. Plus you got the corner cameras. I love that technology from Kia and Hyundai. Nobody else is doing that, nobody. The one thing that is missing There's no head-up display. For $45,000, I want some head-up display. I want a little heads-up for $45,000. So that is a zonk. But let's get to the mid-row and see what your passengers are going to experience in this Prestige. All right, guys, we are in the mid-row, and what I love is this navy blue. I'm telling you, navy blue interior. Everything is like black, gray, tan, brown. It's nice to have a little bit of navy blue in your life. Backs of the seats, you do have some plastic. The good news is after your kids are eating the powdered donuts and stuff and the fudge, you can wipe off all their messy fingerprints. You get a cargo net, but you also get a full pocket, so I don't have to zonk it. What you could do is you could keep the more solid things like books, if your kids even know what a book is, keep it in here, and then keep their knives and their daggers and throwing stars in the solid pocket. That way, you don't rip through the cargo net. Little command center here. We got AC vents that mimic the ones up front. Very nicely done. Look at where we have USB-A's in the backs of both seats, which is great. And then down below, we got a 12-volt home power source and another USB-A. I guess it would be kind of cool, since we got like 42,000 USB-A's in here, it would be nice to have at least one USB-C, but that's not the case. They're all USB-A's. So know your alphabet. A is the larger of the ports. C is the fast one, but it's smaller. Sitting here, I feel good in the seats. You got your manual security shades. Watch this. And I'm actually going to use my real phone here. I'm going to pull it out of my pocket. Let's see what's on my phone. Oh, I don't care about that email. There's Oscar. We love Oscar. Hey, Oscar. That's the Radies Rides official mascot. We could put our phone right here. You could put it like this, like that, and then you could run the cord like that. The one thing I'm gonna have to zonk on these seats is this thing. I don't know whose arm is gonna fit there, but it's definitely not my arm. My arm is bigger than the armrest. Plus, it's one of those like ratcheting ones, which really annoys the heck out of me. So I'm gonna zonk that. I need it to be a little beefier. The great news is, the seats slide, and they slide very well, and they also recline. So that's the great news. Plus, my head's not even close to the headliner, and we got this massive panoramic sunroof. So it's fantastic. But when we get into that one tough place, let's get into the third row and see how usable it is in the Sorento. All right, guys, I squeezed back here. There's some good news and some bad news. First of all, let me pull my shorts down a little bit here so I'm not like showing you half my leg. But the good news is my head is not very close to the headliner. The bad news is my knees are pretty close to the headliner. But in all seriousness, my knees are just way too high sitting back here. This is not very comfortable. I almost feel like I'm doing a cannonball into a pool. This is the perfect position. So if you need to work on that position, then I would sit in the third row. Other than that, it's really tight back here. You do have USB-A's on both sides. Little party tray for some nachos or maybe some popcorn. And then what's cool is you do have these buttons back here to move the seats out of the way. So if you need to do like an emergency escape, you got buttons right here. But this just isn't gonna fly. I'm happy though that they made the third row look just like the other seats. Nice navy blue, same materials and everything. But let's get into the cargo area and see what we could stuff in the Sorento. All right, guys, cargo area time. Now remember, if you haven't been listening or paying attention, this is a 3-row midsize SUV. So what we did was we automatically have the third row up for you. So let's talk about cargo space. What you're looking at with the third row up is 13 cubic feet of space. If you fold down all the rows, you're looking at about 75 cubic feet of space. Now the nice thing is, we lift this up, you do have all of your ability to jack the vehicle up because you do have a spare. We got our battery mounted underneath this panel. Put this back down to get the seats down. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. I mean, it doesn't get any easier than that, guys. Back seat area, there's the USB-A's on both sides. One here on the driver's side, one on the passenger side, which is really nice. Show that off, Steven. Over there, the USB. And then, of course, we have switch gear to put down the mid-row, and we have a 12-volt. Don't stick your finger in there, kids. Other than that, I love the way this area is nice and flat, and it is really surprising the space that you get. Now, if you compare it to a Telluride with all 3 rows is gonna get you up into that over 80 cubic feet of space. This maxes out at 75.6, but if you're ready, I'm ready. Remember, this has 3 rows, so we're gonna go on throttle in each row and show you how this Sorento Hybrid drives. Let's get to it. All right, guys, we're inside this 2023 Kia Sorento Hybrid. Right away, you're gonna be blown away with all the amenities in here, especially compared to the Highlander. The screens are beautiful. Having those corner cameras just makes easy work of changing lanes. Don't have to worry about blind spots. We got the energy flow display in the center down there. The 10.25-inch infotainment system is well within reach. And I like the fact that we have some physical knobs, buttons, and switches, especially for stuff like temperature of the AC and our ventilated seats. Going down the road, the nice thing is that you don't really get a lot of the 1.6 liter engine turning on and turning off a lot. And the transition where it does turn on and turn off is very seamless. So I do really like how they've been able to work that out. We could go into our different modes. And what's great is that they have the modes displayed on the screen so that you're not having to look down at the center console and then you look up and you're like, uh-oh, everybody's stopping, and then you rear end somebody, God forbid. Don't have to worry about that. But here we are in eco mode, and it's a nice, pleasant experience. The seats are on a little bit on the firm side. Now, I don't know if they will break in a little bit as you sit in the seat, but as of right now, with the car having 1,500 miles, they're on the firm side. But they do look damn good, and the ventilated seat portion works extremely well. We have been in some vehicles where you put on the ventilated seats and it feels like nothing is happening. With these, you get a nice cool blast of air. Side mirrors are great. You got your Kia DriveWise safety features, blind spot monitoring, lane keep assist, all those goodies, emergency brake assist. It's just like I pointed out earlier, I would like a head-up display. The panoramic sunroof is great for everybody, no matter what row you're sitting in. And for the most part, the gloss black in the center console area is not too blinding because I have the lid open where the wireless charging is and whatnot. But let's go on throttle because we need to get off the highway. On throttle, 6-speed drops down and we are off and running. And that's the nice thing about this Sorento. With the turbocharged 1.6 liter engine, you are getting plenty of pep to get out of not only other people's way, but your own way, which is very, very important when you're driving on the highway to stay safe. Now, if you've never driven a hybrid vehicle, it's actually interesting because they handle better than the non-hybrid engines because of the lower center of gravity. So we go on throttle, and having that lower center of gravity actually allows less body roll. So that's a nice feature besides the extended range that you're getting, that you're also getting a better driving vehicle overall. That's another plus going the hybrid route. And trust me, I'm a firm believer that in this day and age, as of right now, hybrid is a better way to go than a BEV, than a full battery electric vehicle. That's just my 2 cents on that. But going down the road, very comfortable, except for the seats being a little firm. Lots of space for the mid-row passengers. It's just the third-row passenger is the one that's the plebeian, the one that's being left out a little bit. If you're a small person, then third row is gonna be a little bit more palatable, but somebody who's 6 foot tall or taller, I feel sorry for you. But definitely the way that they did the color palette in here makes this feel like a even more expensive vehicle than what it is. So, and I mean that from the nicest of places, that this does feel more like a $60,000 vehicle just because of how all the finishes are in here, especially with the navy blue. It just kind of does it for me. But the 6-speed automatic shifts well, it's smooth. And just going down the highway soaks up the bumps nicely. You got the all-wheel drive, so you could do your driving in the snow, the rain, whatever the conditions are. This Kia Sorento hybrid is going to be there every step of the way with you. But I'm hoping that this has been a nice overall review of what the Sorento is bringing at the hybrid level. We're going to get back to where it all started and wrap this one up, so I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, it's been another hybrid happening kind of day out here at Rady's Rides with this 2023 Kia Sorento hybrid. That's also the SX Prestige. We got to thank everybody at Kia for allowing us access to this press fleet vehicle. Let me know what you think. Are you going Sorento? Are you going Highlander? How are you going to spend your hybrid midsize 3-row SUV money? I'm dying to read the comment section, but if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Rady's Rides family. We need to give it up to Stephen Flood Photography. He's making things happen. He's actually entered himself into the IHOP, the International House of Pancakes eating competition. That's going to be in December, right before Christmas. Wish him some luck. He's now, training to get those pancakes, those flapjacks down. Thank you, Stephen, for your dedication. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.